Hello everyone, very good evening. Kindly confirm if audio video is clear. Good evening everybody. Please confirm if audio video is clear. Okay, thank you, VB computer class. So this will be the 9th lecture of database management series in which we are discussing different query languages. I have discussed relational algebra and this will be the last lecture of structured query language. So this will be the fifth lecture of structured query language. Yesterday, we have seen some practice questions on SQL, and today also we are going to discuss few more problems on structured query language. Okay, so let's see the very first question for the today's session. Oh, let me check. Perfectly fine. At least option will be visible to you. So let's look at this query and try to identify that how exactly this query will be executed. So given the following schema, there is a relation employee with attributes employee ID, first name of the employee, last name of the employee, hire date of the employee, department ID and salary. So many attributes for each tuple. Now another relation is departments, which has department ID, the name of the department, manager ID and location ID, the location at which that particular department is present. Okay. Now you want to display what exactly is required. You want to display the last names and hire dates. You want two information, last name and hire dates of all the latest hires. You want, look at the query carefully, last names and hire dates of all the latest hires. If you say latest hire, that means the hiring date will be maximum, if I do so, right? So we need the last name and hire date of all the latest hires. So with respect to latest hires, the hire date will be recent in their respective departments. So we need the last name and hire dates of the latest hires from each department in location ID 1700. In location ID 1700. And for that, the query is given. For that, the query is given. Now, what is being asked is whether it executes but does not give the correct result. We need to analyze that whatever is being produced by this query is in accordance with the statement defined in the question or not. If it produces the exact result, then the answer B will be correct. If it executes but does not give the exact result, then option A will be correct. It generates an error because of pairwise comparison. We'll try to understand that where exactly pairwise comparison is being performed. And apart from that, it generates an error because, look at this, it generates an error because the group by clause, cannot be used with the table joins in a subquery. Sir, group by clause can be used anywhere. Please try to understand. Group by clause can be used anywhere. It can be used with a join operation in a subquery as well. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So option D is guaranteed to be false because we can definitely use group by clause by joining the tables in the subquery. It's allowed. Okay. Now let's look at the concept that what is actually happening here. So here we actually need to select what? Sir, last name and hire date. Last name and hire date. Sir, both the information, that is last name of the employee and hire date of that employee is present in the employee table. But what you need to understand, which subjects to teach. So currently I am handling discrete mathematics and database management system. Others are there in the list, but it's absolutely okay for you. Because as of now, for the current year, I'll be handling only these two subjects in PW. So you can go with those two subjects. Okay, so last name and hire dates of the employee are present in the employee table, but please try to understand, we are not interested in all the last names and hire dates. We are interested in something else. Sir, we are interested in the last name and hire dates such that those are the latest hire dates. Those are the latest hire dates from all the department of location 1700. Right? So you will have to identify that. How will you do it? Sir, the department ID for which that particular employer works must be same as the department ID of the department table, so that you can identify whether that department is at the location 1700 or not. At the location 1700 or not. So first of all, you will have to identify what? So first of all, you will have to select the tuples from the department table. You will have to select the tuples from the department table such that there are two ways of doing it. Such that the location ID is 1700. Such that location ID is 1700. Then you would like to join those selected tuples from the employee table such that the department ID is equal. Or, sir, you must understand that selection operation is commutative. Selection operation or AND operation is commutative. Therefore, you can do in both ways. That first, you can select all the tuples with location ID 1700, and then you can join with respect to department ID. Or first, you can join with respect to department ID, and then you can select the tuples in which location is 1700. So both of them are allowed. Yes, compiler design, but initially I have taught compiler design for 2 batches, but now other faculty is available and you don't need to worry about compiler design anymore. Both compiler design and TOC will be taught by same faculty. Okay, come on. So you have so many questions related to who is doing what. Anyway, it's good because your career and you should be concerned that in whose hand actually you are giving the responsibility. Okay, so that's the idea. So first of all, that's I have explained that you need to join the department ID and then you need to select the location. Then what? Sir, once you have done that, you will have to identify the tuples in which the hire date is maximum. You will have to select the tuples in which the hire date is maximum, and then you can say that last name and hire date will be selected. But anyway, this query is different. The query which is available in front of you is little different. Let's try to understand what actually happens in the given query is that this is your subquery. This is your subquery, and the question actually says that in subquery, group by clause is not allowed. No one can stop you from using this group by clause in the subquery. So that's the first thing. Now what? Sir, you in the subquery, you want to select the department ID. In the subquery, you want to select the department ID and the max of hire date with corresponding to that particular department ID. You want to select the department ID and maximum of the hire date from that particular department ID. Now you must understand that if you are selecting any attribute along with aggregate function, then that attribute must be present in the group by clause. So if it is not present in the group by clause, then definitely it will return error. If this department ID is not present in the group by clause, then this query will result error, because if at all you are selecting any attribute along with the aggregate function in the select clause, then that particular attribute must be present in the group by clause. So yes, these two things are required, and this perfectly valid syntax that if you are selecting anything, then that particular department ID must be present in the group by clause. Now what? Sir, from where exactly this information is needed? So, the employee table will be joined with the departments table based on the attribute department ID. That means wherever the department IDs are equal in the join or the cross join of employee and department table, those particular tuples will be selected. So, you will join them based on the department ID. What did I say? Either you can first select the departments based on location ID 1700 and then you can join those tuples of the department table with the employee table, or you can first join and then you can select the tuples in which the in which the location ID corresponding to the department is 1700. So they are doing in the opposite way, that first they will join the tuples based on the department ID. So only the tuples in which the department ID of the department table matches with the department ID of the corresponding employee will get selected, and then you will select the tuples in which location ID is 1700, in which location ID is 1700. Okay. Now what will happen? Let me explain with the help of a table so that you will understand this, that what are the attributes which are required if I say so. Then sir, employee ID is okay, last name is okay, hire date is required and department ID is required. So I'll not include other tuples. I'll include only those tuples in the employee table. That is easy to visualize, but I hope you understand that my objective is not to just solve the questions, but to make you visualize that what exactly will happen, right? So I know that I'm going to discuss very little number of questions in this series. So concept should be in more detail rather than the correct answer. So employee ID, last name, hire date, department ID. So I'll have employee ID, I'll have hire date, last name, 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 hire date, and obviously department ID. Then you will have departments table. So what exactly is needed from the departments table? You will have department ID. What other attribute is required? The department ID. Department name is not required. Manager of the department is not required. But the location of that particular department is of concern. Okay, you must understand, they did not say you want to display the last name and hire date of all the employees and their employees in their respective department in the location ID 1700. But you will have to identify one thing, that department ID must be the key of the department's table. Department ID must be the key of the department table, otherwise this will not execute correctly. So there are some exceptions which you will have to consider. So department ID is actually the key of the department's table and employee ID is the key of the employee table. So I'll have some employee IDs. Let's use E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7. And let's have some departments, D1, D2, D3, D5, D6, D7. We are not using all of them, but let's say that some of them are at location 1700. Remaining are, let's assume, at the location 1200, just to be precise. Okay. Now, whatever the name of the employee is, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just to make sure that they are distinct. The last name may be same. Please try to understand. we did not use the concept of distinct. We did not use the concept of distinct. So if there are two employees with the same last name and same hire date in the same department, then they will get selected. Employee ID will be different. Employee ID will be different, but last name may be same. Therefore, we did not use the concept of distinct here. We did not use the concept of distinct. Okay, but we have used the distinct names. So anyway, that's perfectly fine. Now the hire date is, let's assume we understand that in terms of month, this employee is hired at 2nd of the month, 4th, 7th of the current month, 9th of the current month, 15th of the current month, 20th of the current month, 26th of the current month, and 28th of the current month. Just to explain the concept, right? Department ID, sir, the latest hire date with respect to department. So this may be the maximum, but let's assume that this particular employee is not from department of 1700, so it should not get selected. Hire date is maximum. Hire date is maximum, but the department ID is not at the location 1700. Now let's take two employees from the same department. So let's say this is the employee from the department D3, and employee is also an employee from the department D3. So there are two employees from department D3 with two hire dates, 9 and 20. So maximum hire date is 20. Therefore, only this tuple should get selected. This one should never get selected. If the employee is not from location 1700, then that particular employee should not get selected. Okay, some other stuff. Let's assume that there is only one employee in department D1. So whatever the date is, if there is only one employee in the department D1, then that particular employee will have the highest or the latest hire date. So let's assume that the tuple with respect to E1 should also get selected, and let's have a few more entries are required. So let's select D5, and let's have D7. Let's have D7. So apart from this two, this particular E4 should get selected. This one should not get selected, and D7 is from 1200, so it should not get selected. So I know that based on the question that is being asked, if at all I want to select the last name, and hire date of all the latest hire in their respective department in the location 1700, then I'll get two things. That from department D1, it is from location 1700, and the latest hire is A with hire date 2. From department D5, there are two hires from department D5, and the department D5 is at location 1700, but the latest hire from department D5 is employee with name last name D and hire date 15. Okay. Similarly, there are two employees from department D3 of location ID 1700, and the latest hire from department D3 is employee with name last name E and the hire date 20. So this three tuples should get selected. That's what I'm saying. Now, so what will happen? Please try to understand. This D1 will be combined with this. So first of all, D1 equals to D1. Therefore, because of this join operation based on the department ID, this tuple D1 will be combined only with this particular department, no other comparison. So D5 will be combined with this D3 will be combined with this D5 will also combine with this D3 will also be combined with this D7 will be combined with this, and D2 will be combined with this. Let me use another color. D2 will be combined with this. So these are the only tuples which will be available after the join operation of employee table and department table. Out of those join operation, first of all, the moment we perform the selection condition, where condition location ID equals to 1700. So how many tuples? So 3, 3, 6, 7 tuples are there. 7 tuples are there. Out of those 7 tuples, 7 tuples. Now the condition of location ID equals to 1700 will not be true for 1700 will not be true for this tuple, so it will not get selected. It will not be true for D7, so it will also not get selected. So the tuple is not selected, then the grouping will not be performed. What else? So for all other D1, D5, D3, D1, D5, D3, all are from location 1700. So all other tuples will be selected. Now what else? So once you have selected or once you have performed the where condition, on the output of where condition, group by clause will be applied. On the output of where condition, group by clause will be applied. Now we will group them based on the department ID. Now we will group them based on the department ID. So what will happen? Sir, one department ID will be, use red color, one department ID will be D1. Therefore, one group with respect to D1 will be created, one group with respect to D5 will be created, and one group with respect to D3 will be created. So three groups will be created. Now, once you have performed the group, you will check for having condition, but there is no having condition in this subquery. Therefore, all the groups will be selected by the select command. Therefore, the output of this inner query will be what? Sir, there is a group D1, and with respect to group D1, among all the higher dates, the maximum is 2. There is only one. So maximum of one element will be that element itself. So the maximum of higher date will be 2. From department D3, the maximum higher date among D3, there are two higher dates, 9 and 20. The maximum higher date is 20. Therefore, from department D3, the maximum higher date 20 will be present in the output, and from department D5, the maximum higher date, with respect to department D5, the higher dates are 7 and 15. So the maximum one is 15. Therefore, from department D5, you will get the maximum higher date as 15. Now, please try to understand what exactly is produced by this subquery. So this subquery will produce the department IDs from location 1700. This will produce the department IDs from location 1700. Yes, sir. Along with the maximum higher date, latest higher date in that particular department. Now, please try to understand, as I told you, that this information that you just need to, why did we perform this join operation? Sir, we performed this join operation so that we can identify that from a particular department, what is the maximum higher date? Because the higher date attribute is not present in the department table. Therefore, we had to join this department ID with the department ID of the employee table to check the higher date of different employees from that particular department. So we got the department ID. So please, this is department ID, and the second one is max of higher date. Okay. So this is the output of inner query, and this inner query is a independent subquery. It does not require the attribute specified in the outer relation. It can be executed independently. After execution of this independent subquery, we will get the department ID along with the maximum higher date from that particular department. Now what will happen? Sir, we'll go with all the tuples. Of employee table, and on the tuples of employee table, on each tuple of employee table, we will check whether where condition is true. So in the tuple of employee table, we will compare the department ID and hire date of the employee, whether the department ID and hire date of the employee is in this set or not. If it is in this set, then that particular employee is the latest hire from that particular department of location 1700. So what will happen? Now we'll go tuple by tuple. So we'll take first tuple, whether a comma 2. So with respect to this tuple, the department ID is D1 and the hire date is 2. So D comma 2, sorry, D1 comma 2 is present in this set or not? Yes, sir. D1 comma 2 is in this set. Therefore, D1 comma 2 is in this set. Therefore, in will return true. And because in is returned true, therefore, where condition is true. And because where condition is true, this particular tuple will be selected. And from this tuple, particular tuple will be selected. And from this tuple, the last name and hire date will be produced as output. Last name and hire date will be produced as output. So last name will be A, hire date will be 2. Last name will be A, hire date will be 2. Then we'll go to the second tuple. So with respect to second tuple, department ID is D5 and hire date is 7. So please check, do we have D5 comma 7? Do we have D5 comma 7 in this table? No, sir. We have D1 comma 2 as one tuple, D3 comma 20 as another tuple, D5 comma 15 as another tuple. We don't have D5 comma 7. We don't have D5 comma 7 in this set of tuples. And because D5 comma 7 is not present in the set of tuples, therefore in will return false. If in is false, therefore where condition is false. Where condition is false, and because where condition is false, therefore that particular tuple will not be selected and no value will be produced in the output from this particular tuple. Similarly, D3 comma 9 is also not present, so it will not get selected. Now D5 comma 15, D5 comma 15, D5 comma 15 is in the set of tuples, therefore in will return true, that is where condition is true. Therefore, from this particular tuple, the last name and hire date, that is D comma 15, will be produced in the output. D comma 15 will be produced in the output. What else? So this is E comma 20. So D320. We'll check whether D3 comma 20 is in the set of tuples produced by the inner query. Yes, sir. D3 comma 20 is in the set of tuples. Therefore, where condition is true, and because where condition is true for this tuple with respect to employee ID E5, therefore the last name with respect to employee ID E5 and hire date 20 will be selected. Therefore, the next output will be E comma 20. Next output will be E comma 20. With respect to this particular tuple, sir, this anyway is not present. This D7 comma 26. We'll check for D7 comma 26, but D7 comma 26 is not part. D7 comma 26 is not part of the output of inner query because department D7 is not from location 1700. So the department which is not from location 1700, the department ID of that particular department cannot be in the output of inner subquery. Therefore, the tuple is guaranteed to be present in the output of inner subquery. Therefore, with respect to D7 comma 26, it is not in the tuple, therefore condition is false, not get selected. D2 comma 28 is not in the tuples produced by inner query, therefore this condition will return false for the last tuple as well. So you realize that for these three tuples, in which the employee is from department of location 1700 and the hire date is maximum among all the employees of that particular department is being selected. Therefore, your query is actually producing the output as last name and hire date of the latest hires from each department of location 1700. So yes, it executes and gives the correct result. It executes and it will return the correct result. Clear? You don't need to worry, sir. If you are thinking that, sir, at many places I have seen that people are saying that it will generate an error because of pairwise comparison, but no, it's not the case. The tuples, the idea of any all in is to check whether the tuple is in the set of tuple or not. So we do not look only for a single value. We actually check for a tuple in the set of tuples. Check for a tuple in the set of tuples. Clear? So we create a tuple using where clause and then check whether the tuple is in the set of tuples produced by inner subquery or not? So here, this three, yeah, anyway. So we have understood enough about this question. So the correct answer will be option B. Correct answer will be option B. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Look at this particular question and try to provide the answer. If you are investing some time to understand the query, then definitely you will reach to the solution, and only if you invest time on the SQL queries, you will be able to master the concept of SQL query. If you are in the hurry that I want to give the answer of this particular question within the 3 minute or 4 minute or whatever, if you restrict yourself by the amount of time that you will have to invest to understand that query, then it will always be difficult to understand SQL, especially in the learning phase. I am saying that if you give enough amount of time to each and every question that has been asked in the GATE exam from the topic SQL and relational algebra, then by the time you solve all those questions, you yourself will realize that you are able to solve almost every question within the time frame of 2 to 3 minutes, and that much time is available in the GATE exam as well, right? So please, while learning, you should not focus on the time that you are putting in. Come on, let's look at the next question. Consider the following relational schema. What's one is employee table, another is customer table. Okay. Employee ID, employee name, and employee department are the attributes of the employee table. Customer ID, the ID of the customer. Customer name. Sales representative ID. Sir, who will be sales representative? Sir, who will be sales representative? You must understand that the employee of a company will be a sales representative only. Who is a sales representative? Sir, sales representative is an employee of the company. So, whatever the sales representative ID is actually corresponding to the employee ID of the employee table. That's what is being mentioned. Sales representative ID is a foreign key in the customer table referring to the employee ID of the employee relation. So, the attribute sales representative ID in the customer relation is a referring to the employee ID of the employee relation. That means there cannot be any sales representative ID in the customer table which is not present as an employee ID in the employee table. That's the constraint provided by referential integrity constraint. Clear? Come on. Now, assume another thing that is given is assume that each employee, that is each employee ID makes a sale to at least one customer. That means all the IDs, employee IDs of the employee table will be present somewhere in the customer table in the column of sales representative ID. There is no employee in the employee table who did not supply any part to any customer. So all the employees have supplied at least one item to at least one customer. So assume each employee makes a sale to at least one customer. Sale means it supplied at least one item. Now, what does the following query return? What does the following query return? Select employee name. Okay. So it need not be unique. So select employee name from employee table as E. So the alias of employee table is created as E. Now what will happen? Where not exists. Okay. So we just need to check whether the inner query result is empty or not empty. We just need to check whether the inner query result is empty or not empty. Now, the second thing that you need to identify is that whether subquery is an independent subquery or a correlated subquery. So what happens? Sir, we select the customer ID, okay, from the customer table, okay, where the sales representative ID is the same as employee ID of the employee table. So you are using the attribute specified in the outer relation. Therefore, your query is correlated subquery. The moment you come to know that the query is a correlated subquery, you know that you will have to execute this inner query tuple by tuple for each tuple of outer relation. Now what will happen? Sir, if I tell you that, sir, we are looking at not exists. We are looking at not exists means a name of the employee will be selected only if corresponding to that employee the inner query result is empty. Only if corresponding to that employee inner query result is empty, because here we are using not exist, right? So first of all, in all the tuples of the customer table, wherever the employee ID of the tuple of the employee table is same as the representative ID in the relation customer, the another thing, whenever it is true, second one must be false. Whenever the first one is false, anyway that particular customer ID will not get selected. But if you want that the inner query result is empty, for an employee to get selected, then whenever the ID of the employee is the same as ID of the representative, the second condition must be false. The second condition says that rating not equals to good. Second condition says rating not equals to good. If there is any tuple in the customer table, where employee ID of the employee corresponding to the tuple from the employee relation is the same as representative ID in the customer table, and if rating is not good in any of the tuple, then the customer who has given a bad rating to that particular employee will get selected. Now, if any customer who has given the bad rating to that particular employee is selected, then for that particular employee, exist will return true and not exist will return false. That is, the name of that employee will not get selected. So the only condition for the name of the employee to get selected is that in all the tuples where this first condition is true, with respect to tuples of customer table, in all the tuples of customer table where the first condition is true, second one has to be false. If the second one also becomes true, then this not exist will become false and that particular employee will not get selected. So for the name of the employee to get selected, whenever the first condition is true, second should also be true. That is, rating should not be not equals to good. Rating should not be not equals to good. Not equals to good. False means rating must be equals to good. If you want that this second condition should also be false, means rating must be equals to good. That means in all the tuples of the customer table, whenever the employee ID is same as representative ID, the rating provided by customer must be good. So what exactly or which names will be produced by this particular query? Name of all the employees with at least one of their customer having a good rating, not at least. If any customer gives the bad rating, that particular employee will not get selected. What did I say? If any of the customer gives a bad rating, that not equals to good will become true and that particular employee name will not be selected. So this one is false. Names of the employee with at most one of their customer, not at most, all the customer having a good rating. Names of all the employees with none of their customer having a good rating. Names of all the employees with all their customers having a good rating. If any customer gives a bad rating to that particular employee, then the inner query result will be non-empty for that particular employee ID and particular name of the name of that particular employee will not get selected. Make sense? So these are some simple things. Correlated query. You don't need to create tuples like this all the time. If you slowly move towards the understanding the concept of correlated query, independent query, and different clauses of SQL, you will not have to write these tuples. This is just for a layman person to understand that how exactly a query will proceed, or how exactly the different subquery will produce their output, and based on that, how exactly the main query will produce its output. Right? Yeah, but in the beginning, it will be a good approach. In the beginning, it will be a good approach. But as you move forward, as you start learning the concept, please try to analyze along with creating such tables. So first you may try to create some random table and try to see that what exactly will be produced, and then you should also analyze that if I look at the query, then can I conclude that which particular names from the table, from the tuple of employee table will get selected. Yeah, thank you, Nishu. Okay, so that's the last question of today's session. As I asked you in the last class that you guys can actually let me know that what needs to be covered. Nobody asked anything, so that's fine. Anyway, please, if you watch that video at the later point of time and you come to know that, sir, I have some doubts in relational algebra or SQL, either in the different topics or in the topics that I have explained in this particular series, you can connect with me via my Telegram group. So you can simply search Vishal Sir PW and you will be able to find. That will not be too difficult. Just Vishal Sir PW. So if you search this, you will be able to find the group. Whatever doubts you have related to relational algebra and SQL, you can ask. Okay, so this is a very simple query. Should not take that too much amount of time. Please look at this. So there's a table A with some information, table B, some information, and table C with some information. Now consider the above tables A, B, C. How many tuples does the result of the following SQL query contains? So if we execute this query on this particular instances of relations A, B, and C, then how many tuples will be present in the output? Damn easy. So look at this. Select A dot ID from A. So we need A dot ID from relation A, where A dot age, that age of the tuple or age of the person in the table A should be greater than all the values present in the output of this inner query. Present in the output of this inner query. B for Bihar. Yeah, correct. Please try to understand what output will be produced by this inner query. So what is this? Select age from B, where the name in the table B is equals to Arun. Let's go to table B. Let's go to table B. Sir, there is no tuple with a name Arun. There is no tuple with a name Arun. Therefore, none of this tuple will return true with respect to where condition, and therefore the age from none of the tuple of relation B will be produced in the output. So the idea is that the inner query result will be empty. Inner query result will be empty. And what did I say? So I just wanted to give you an example of all. I have given you an example of any in the last class. I have given you an example of in, but I never gave you an example of all. Therefore, I have chosen this particular question. The inner query result is empty. Now you know, whenever inner query result is empty, all will always return true. Therefore, all will always return true. Now what will happen? Once you have executed this independent subquery, the output will be empty relation. Then you will go to the outer relation. You will check. You will take the tuple from A. You will take the first tuple from A. and then you will go and compare whether the age in the first tuple is greater than all of them or not. So all will return true. Therefore, where condition will be true. Therefore, ID 12 will be selected. So this 12 will be selected. Then you will go with the second tuple. Again, the age will be we will check whether the age is greater than all the values in this tuple or no, set of tuples or not. But the set of tuple is empty. Therefore, all will again return true for the second tuple as well. Therefore, ID from the second tuple will also get selected. Similarly, ID from the third tuple will also get selected. Therefore, the number of tuples, therefore, number of how many tuples does the query returns? 3 tuples. Done? Sir, please teach transaction concurrency control next chapter. Yeah, definitely. Very soon, I'll plan another DBMS series in which I'll take up the topic transactions and concurrency control. You don't need to worry about it. Sir, after SQL. Yeah, I know there are very few chapters which are important, where very few topics with which students struggle in the database management system. I know that the day I start discussing the concept of normalization, no one of you will come and watch because you all think that normalization is a very easy topic. So yeah, definitely I'll not try to teach normalization until somebody explicitly requests for that particular topic, because anyway, sincerely, it is a very easy topic. But many of you may struggle with the concept of recoverability and concurrency control protocol. You don't struggle with the concept of conflict serializability. You may struggle with the concept of view serializability, and you may struggle with the concept of 2PL and timestamp ordering protocol. Otherwise, there is nothing difficult in transactions and concurrency control as well, right? So I know that what you are looking for. So I'll plan some sessions in which we can discuss the concept of view serializability, concept of 2PL, concepts of timestamp ordering protocol. Clear? If you are from data science student, transactions and concurrency control will be of no use for you. Okay? Sriharsha, if you are from DA, if you are only DA aspirant and not going to participate in the CS paper, then transactions and concurrency control will be of no use for you, because that particular topic is not specified in the syllabus of DA paper. Yeah, this particular concept, tuple relational calculus, relational algebra, and SQL are explicitly specified in the syllabus of DBMS, but you don't need to worry about it. Okay, Shreya. So that will be all. Thank you very much. I'm done with the questions that I was supposed to discuss today. I hope you enjoyed the series and you got to know some new things while watching the video. And if please trust me, you may think that relational algebra and SQL is a very difficult thing. But if you watch these 9 lectures and if you try to attempt the gate questions sincerely, trust me, you will be able to solve at least 95% of those questions. There's nothing difficult. It's just that you don't know the order in which things should be executed. Sir, if all the tuples in all, if all tuples selected in all, then what happens? What do you mean? If all tuples are selected in all, then what happens? We will get benefited from. When I go to Sriharsha, you will get other topics as well. Please, I'm not saying that. No. Don't think that I'm not going to come up with other topics. The order may be here and there, that first I'll take some topics which are in the CS branch, or like I've taken a topic which is common for both DA and CS. Then I may choose some topics which are only in the DA branch but not in the CS branch, or I may choose the topics which are only in the CS branch but not in the DA branch. We cannot we cannot satisfy each and everyone. So the idea is I'll not discuss normalization because it is damn easy. But if you are struggling with B tree, B plus tree concept, I can start with that as well. There won't be any problem. Yeah, yes, Nishu, what are you trying to ask? Just said that, sir, if all tuples selected, which all tuples? All the tuples of table A, if all the tuples of table A, or you mean to say all the tuples of table B, which all the tuples are selected? What do you mean? If all selected tuples of B, so let's assume that, let me give you a condition. Why bother when things can be rephrased? Look at this. So if you want to select all the tuples, then you can actually say that, let's do one thing, that select B dot age from B, where change the condition. Just say where B dot age is greater than or equals to 11. So if this is the condition, if this is the condition, then all these specific edges will be selected. That means the output will be, let me write in this order. It does not matter that in what order they are present. 24 and 40. All these edges will be present. Now you will go with the first tuple. Now you will go with the first tuple of the table A, and you will check whether the age in the first tuple is greater than all the values produced by the inner query or not. So if age is 60 and here the edges are 11, 20, 24 and 40, then 60 is greater than all of them. 60 is greater than all of them. Therefore, for first tuple, the greater than all, for first tuple, this all will return true. That means for first tuple, where condition will be true. Therefore, the ID 12 will get selected. ID 12 will get selected. Yes, it will get selected. But what will happen with respect to second tuple? So when you go with respect to second tuple, then the value will be 24. You will check whether 24 is greater than all the values in this tuple or not. So 24 is greater than 11. So it will go and compare the next condition. 24 is greater than 20. So it will go and compare with the third tuple. The moment it identified that there is a value 24, so 24 is not greater than 24. 24 is not greater than 24. Means there are some tuples in the output of inner query such that all will return false for them, because at least one tuple in the set of tuples satisfy the or fails. One tuple in the set of tuples fails the comparison condition. So if any tuple fails the comparison condition, then and there the all will return false. So if all return false, where will return false? And this particular 15 will not get selected. 15 will not get selected. Similarly, this 11 is less than, or for 11, the moment you will compare with 11, so 11 is not greater than 11, therefore here itself, the first comparison itself, the all will return false, and this 99 also will not get selected. Clear, Nishu? Clear? That's what you wanted to know? I hope I have been able to resolve your doubt. Different things. Chale. Anyway, so we have seen all the questions. Thank you very much for joining. Keep learning. That's the only request, that if you guys are investing any amount of time on the YouTube to learn the concept, then you must get benefited by those efforts which you are putting in order to learn something from this particular platform. So please keep preparing, keep your motivation high, and always think positive. Don't think that, no, it's too difficult. How will I do it? How will I do that? Don't do that. Okay? Yeah, we'll, Shreya, very soon. Very soon we'll do that. Okay? Goodbye. Thank you very much. Good night. Take care. Keep learning. see you in the next series of database management system, and I promise I'll start that series very soon. Don't worry about that. Okay, chaliye, take care.